Hello everyone, I80386SX, and yes, I am alive. Now, what do we got here today? We have a graphics card, for one, a GTX 1080. Very dumb luck on how I got it. And the second thing in the mystery envelope, get it out. That's one way to do it. Whip it out. We have a 10-pin power connector to the 6 and the 8. Why do we need that? Well, my hope is that I can put this bad boy into my HP Proliant DL380 Gen9. So, without any further delay, we will do just that, and I will get things set up over at my server, and we will see what we can do. Alright, server is unplugged, and this is the, I know you can't tell in the light here, but this is a DL380 Gen9. I promise, it is just that. Or, logic be damned, on this channel, we're going to use our very messy workstation here, lab station, whatever you want to call it. We'll use the DVR, NVR, for power. They're already paying the electricity, and might as well use it, right? That's more like it. So now, you don't have to take my word for it. It's a DL380 Gen9. Now, some of you that are new to the channel, I'll give you a little history lesson on the Proliant name. They originally started under Compaq. I think it was late 90s when the DL380 came to existence. I have to look up my history on that, but it started life as a Pentium 3. The Proliant DL380 Gen 2 was also a Pentium 3. And I did a video about one of those very early in my YouTube channel's existence. And then HP bought out Compaq. They took the name Proliant and they continued to roll with it. So the name was so good that HP wanted a piece of it. And then come October 2015, HP took their server and storage networking, and they made HPE, Hewlett Packard Enterprise. So that happened during the time of the DL380's Gen 9's existence. So you'll see, if you want to tell that you have a newer DL380 Gen 9, look for the one with the green rectangle in the front. This is an earlier model. But anywho, let's get the cover off. The power has already been pulled. Do this with some tight space. I may have to move the camera. We're not fancy here, but it does work. And one caveat here, if you do put a graphics card in a machine like this, there are some considerable considerations you must make. For a graphics card, you gotta have the second riser. This one didn't have it originally, so I bought one for 40 bucks. When you put the second riser in, you need a second CPU. Fortunately, this was a bottom of the barrel junk, so no sweat there. I found a CPU for cheap. Now, the next question is there anything else in this riser card? There isn't. So, I should be able just to unscrew this and pull this whole darn thing up. As you can tell, there is a Quadro graphics card in here already. I used this server last year during the beginning and the peak of the pandemic for folding at home. It's a K2200. Didn't do particularly well for contributing to science, but any little bit help if it gets us out of the pandemic, right? And anyone that did do the folding at home, no matter how small your machine is, I'm sure science thanks you, I thank you. You all contributed in some way to kicking this pandemic to where it is today. So, you got all those naysayers in science, oh, this is so rushed, blah, blah, blah. Had a lot more contributions this time around. And the IT community and anybody with their graphics cards really helps speed things up. Not to say, do I blindly say I trust whatever they did? No. We're not also going to discuss that in this channel any further. We're just going to keep it the IT side. So, next thing we got to do, we have the riser card. This is where your 10-pin power would go. And I wish this card didn't take up 2 slots, but it is what it is. The price was right on the card, so I'm not going to make too many bad remarks about it. As soon as I get this thing oriented, this is a beefy card. I love it. Got some stupid. You gotta take the beauty covers off if you have one of these little plastic DVD things on it. Hope I don't have to take the HDMI ones off, but we shall see in 2 seconds here. This thing is going in like a bear, and I wish I had a better angle on my current situation, but unfortunately this is going to be done off camera for the most part. Alright, we're in. So now, at this point, I'll do the best to put it in the camera. It's in. There's your riser card. It takes up 2 slots, like demonstrate there. Now we gotta plug in the power. And the GTX 1080 does use the 8-pin. So we're gonna plug our 8-pin in. I bought the cord cable for 14 bucks. It's supposedly compatible with the DL380 Gen 9. I'm not sure if that's true, but we'll see. It's a really long cable, though. I don't particularly like that, but we'll see what we can do here. So now we gotta line things up just perfect and hope this guy will fit. And there's a lot of cable. Just gotta get everything just to fit perfectly, and of course it don't. You know, that's just illegal. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to do this one offline. Sorry, folks. Well, I think we're at a dead end unless we can do some fast thinking here. We are binding on 2 different pieces. We have a metal bracket here and a plastic piece here that's preventing us from getting this card fully seated. So I'm gonna have to do something with that, and I'll see what I can do, but that's also gonna be an offline one. I think once we get past that, everything else will fit in place. A little bit of a intermission piece here. To get the riser card out of slot 1, there were 2 screws, and the card came right out. And it looks like the plastic piece will just lift right out. This metal bracket, on the other hand, will require some original thinking, so I will go offline and we'll continue to work through this. Alright. Talk about a close shave there. So, I do recommend getting this piece out if you actually are serious about this. It does actually right up against the card itself. I'm not sure if I put any gouges in it or not, but this piece is riveted into this PCIe expansion module. Actually, a PCI module, according to HP, but there's no PCI slots on there, so good trick, but whatever. And we are ready to put the cover on and give this thing a go. So let's get her done. And this may take some time, so do bear with me and my very professional grade setup that I have going here. This tripod is the greatest, isn't it? And the question will likely be asked about airflow, and I think if you do ask that question, I think you're going to be ultimately correct that this is not a recommended long-term solution. This is basically, will it work at this point? And I'm going to move that. Now, on a desktop PC, you can also run without the cover. On these servers, you really don't want to do that. They're engineered in a way that running them without the cover just isn't going to work. And what in the hell's going on here? Maybe we are too high. So, alright, well, we're going to solve that one offline. So, give me a second and we will get this cover back on all the way. Alright, we're back in business. Let's turn her on. And that metal bracket that I was talking about that you may have to cut off, that controls the lock. So, if you do remove that, your server may not properly lock, the lid that is. That's, I can't tell, but that black thing way down there, that latches onto that metal bracket, so it's something to be aware of. And now that we shine the light on the situation here, I realize that my screen is very dirty. And another thing to note about Proliant servers is that they initially start on the onboard graphics. But once they boot the operating system, and in this case it'll be VMware, then this monitor should turn on with the new graphics card. But we'll have to wait and see what all happens when we're all said and done. While we're waiting for that little ensemble to do its thing, we'll go in the front of this thing, and it is acting normal so far. We have green across the board, and everything looks like it's good. Right now we spin in hard drives. Pardon that. Okay, so far so good. See, that was the one thing I wasn't sure about, is when the expansion card actually kicked in, and we're getting this far, so it is looking very promising. And as you can tell, I basically, in this server, this is basically bottom of the barrel junk for the DL380 Gen 9. There's a little bit of a story with this server. Some unfortunate luck happened with it. I bought this thing secondhand on eBay for $400 on March 10th, 2020. Now, if you're watching this video as it comes out, you pretty well have the events that preceded that around the world in your head. But in case you come down this 20 years from now, well, here it is. So, on March 10th, 2020, I bought this server on eBay basically with free money from work. We have a reward program where if you do good, they give you, I think the program's called Kazoo. I don't know if they give you points or whatever, but, uh-oh. Never seen that before. But, so, and one of the things you could get were those prepaid credit cards. So I got a $400 worth of those, and everything was good. We got them into eBay and was able to purchase the server. So, no problem, right? Then what happened on March 12th? March 11th, that week, right after that, the COVID pandemic really started to take off, and everything was shutting down, or there was a schedule to shut everything down. So, like, your bars actually closed on St. Patrick's Day in Wisconsin, which was quite a ballsy move by Tony Evers, but what had to be done had to be done. I thought for sure that his haters would take him out in the field somewhere, but at least that fortunately didn't happen, so. But Drinking State closes bars on St. Patrick's Day. Interesting strategy, but anywho, so at the time I didn't know if we were going to have jobs or not, because where I work is about as non-essential as it gets in terms of what's important and what isn't. So I was sitting on this brand new to me server and possibly no job, so very unfortunate events, but fortunately for me it was deemed essential throughout the entire pandemic to this point, and income came in. The company actually did pay us for just about the entire close down, so you know what, kudos to them, they didn't have to do that. So now I think at this point we are booting in the VMware. So I will put this thing offline, and as soon as that's booted up, then we will continue. Alright, so you get to see all my VMs in their wonderful fashion here. And VMware will not actually display the yellow screen if you're using an expansion card. And if you're doing it in this way, you have to attach that card to something. So I'm doing this a little bit blind here, so I think you've got to attach it to a VM with PCI pass-through, and I don't remember how to do that. Alright, so let's not, if I can't figure it out in the next few seconds here or so, then oh, okay, I think we're in the right spot here. So we're looking for something that says NVIDIA. There we go. Audio controller. Ah, shoot. Help if I actually can click. So I'm just going to scroll to this list real fast. And those are the only two NVIDIA things of which I see. So let's see what that does. So pass-through is enabled. Reboot the host, and we will come back when that is rebooted. Alright, so I connected to the ILO of this server, and, well, I found out that my ILO is also write protected somehow, but those are questions for another day. And if I could do this without showing my mess, most of it, and the screen says Hewlett-Packard Enterprise over there. It's going to stay that way until we actually connect it to a VM. This should boot pretty fast. And at some point I'll upgrade this to 7. And okay, it's going to cry about a license. This is a home lab, so I don't care about a license for something lousy like an ILO. And I might have made a liar out of myself in this being a fast boot. Oh, maybe, here we go. Wasn't sure if it was a server at work or if this one took a long time because of iSCSI, but it looks like that this is not the problem child. Whatever, screw you. We'll refresh this and see what we can do. She's up. Great. Maybe should have had some of that St. Patrick's Day booze, or shouldn't have had it in this case, if my way I hold the camera. So let's try to attach this thing to a VM. So I think this is how you do it. Add other device. Okay, here we go. PCI device. I think this is actually it. And allows you to connect the graphics card itself. Let's see if it'll save. It didn't complain about it, so that's good. So now let's do the same with the audio. And it did. Okay, excellent. Before I do anything else, I'm going to restart some of my AD controllers so we actually have something, some internet to go with. Once we get that up, I'll continue on with this video. Okay, so we are up to a point where we can do normal functions or basic functionality on my network. So we now have a 1080 and a high definition audio controller from the graphics card. So let's see what we can do. Oh, invalid memory setting. Mem size 4096. That's very interesting. All right. Oh, we'll give this one a little bit more memory. That's okay. Try again. Invalid. Oh, it's got to be equal. Okay, that's my bad. Let's. I never had to do that. It's trying to power it on. And I think it did. It got a black screen. There we go. And this is a VM that's been around for a while, I think. Now initially on the external monitor it will be blank. Of course we got to go out and get the drivers and all that fun stuff, so that's going to take a little bit. while that's doing its thing, I'm gonna go try and get the rest of my environment up, and when this comes up to its fullest extent, then we will continue. Look at all that screen resolution. Enough screen resolution to go around the world. And I'm pretty sure that this is a very old version of Windows that we're working with, so I'm hoping that that doesn't come into play later on. About that keyboard, it's amazing. 1903, okay, that's not terrible. It's not good, but it's not terrible. First of all, let's see if we can get the screen resolution up to anything remotely useful. That should do. And so, off to the NVIDIA website. Cool. Not what I was looking for, but oh, I'm cool with that. Whatever. Alright, so let's find the drivers. If I have trouble finding a driver for this damn card on this website, I'm going to turn in my IT card. Alright, GeForce, and that's going to be a GTX. It might just be a 10. Yep, that is right. I think it's just a straight old 1080, if I remember my history lesson correctly here. It's a lot of download. Alright, we'll save it. And it's going nice and fast, at least. But I'm not going to make you wait around for a download, so in the next 2 minutes I shall be back. Alright, let's continue on and run. Uh-oh. Oh shoot, I am not an administrator. On this machine. So, we need to do that. Let's see if that allows us to go through. Alright, I don't think we need the web browser anymore, so we're going to just close that puppy out. I don't have flash storage on this environment in any capacity, so things will go a little bit slower, but not by much. The slower storage is all 4 terabit 7200 RPM drives from HGST. I do have a small RAID array lurching as well with 15K drives. That's what this server is sitting on. Yeah, I found some drivers. Okay, that's neat. Really interested to see if it actually found any drivers for that. And that's okay, we don't care. It looks like it. Okay, well, we'll see if we can get an actual driver for it. the NVIDIA driver might be a better option here. Having Microsoft think for you has not particularly gone well for me or anyone else in the past. Let's minimize that. And if you're into any kind of gaming at all, this should be pretty straightforward. I'm going to install the bare minimum. And this is pretty rudimentary stuff, so I think I'm going to pause here and we'll let this do its thing. Good news is the card actually did install with the right drivers. Bad news is it didn't do exactly what I wanted it to do either. Or who knows, maybe what I wanted for it may work. I thought for some reason that this display, if you went into VMware, it didn't display anything other than basically like an extended screen, but I could be wrong. Let's see what we can do here. I did have a blue screen during this whole ensemble too, which of course we got to make things interesting, right? And I have a feeling we're going to get another one here soon. Oh, maybe. I don't know what's going on here. This ain't looking good. Guess it's doing it. Yeah, so you have to take my word for it, but the second display and the external display connected to the machine did go green. Yep, there we go. And yep, so it blue screened again. So I'm not sure if there's a problem with my VM or if there's some other issue going on. So I'm going to shut it off because I don't care anymore. And I'll tweak with that later. But the point of that was to show you what you had to do to get that GeForce 1080 graphics card in a DL380 Gen 9 server. And I think I did that. I think the long-term solution, unless I'll spin up a fresh VM and see if that makes any more difference in the stability department or what we have to do with that. But otherwise, I think something like this may be our better shot here if I want to do any kind of graphics work, but we'll see. I pretty much took it for, well, it might be able to process my videos faster and not burn up my laptop, and that's what I'm hoping for. But if it doesn't do that, then graphics card's going on the market. So with that, if you have any questions, comments, or even some constructive criticism, please feel free to leave them in the comments section. And I know it's far cry from best practice, so don't bother pointing that out. So thank you again for watching. Alright, so I ended up building a new VM. As you can call it, or as you can see, it's got a very sophisticated name of New Virtual Machine. NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1080 is now working properly. Boom. Now, a little word of caution here. If you do put a graphics card in a server like this, and if it's anything like this K2200 that I pulled out, I think the VMware desktop is basically not usable, and you get a blank screen, and all the stuff actually displays on the machine with the using the NVIDIA card. I think you can finagle it to do it like that too on this one, but for some reason it's not doing that. But we're not blue screening, so that's a step in the right direction. So what I wanted to try is my video editing program here, and we'll see what we could do here. Maybe. Oh, so I did put some downloads here. So let's append here. We'll do a couple quick appends and off to the races. This video here that we're going to try and encode with this graphics card is a rant. So you get to see me go off on quite a tangent here. And I think I got them all. Let me double check that. So we got this one, which is 1 minute, 33 seconds. That's about right. Okay, great. See, Wisconsin has this huge problem with the number of its drivers. But I won't go into rants here at this time, but there absolutely is a problem. So let's try the NVIDIA H264 and see what it does. And we'll copy MP3. I think that's right. Okay, configure. Looks good to me. Now let's see what it does. Ah, no, I want to save it. We are not an organized unit here. So let's go combined NVIDIA. And this, in theory, should get the graphics card involved. I think. There we go. So this one says it's going to take about 4 minutes to do. Now the question is it actually using the graphics card, or is it using... And I wonder, I have speed... No, I don't have speed fan on this machine. Oh, here we go. This will tell us some stats. So this is processing rates and... Okay, so while we're doing that, let me go get these files off of my OneDrive and put them on this computer and see what we get. So, with the magic of video editing, I will do that. Alright, fun with OneDrive, here we go. It's moving stuff right now, and Microsoft sucks. This is an 8-minute video that we're encoding, so it's not going to take terribly long regardless. Even with the video card, I'm not entirely sure if it's doing what it's supposed to do, just because this machine is basically unusable to VM when we're encoding. And it's 9:13. I didn't keep that close of a track on time, but it's moving along. Seems like it's moving along pretty good. Okay, so that file is saved. Computer is very usable. And I want to see SpeedFan will actually tell us what I want to tell us, or what I want to know, maybe. Unless the cooling in this server is so amazingly great that it's not going to make a significant temperature increase, but we'll see. Let's do whatever. I don't know what conking about on my OneDrive, but whatever. I don't care. It says it's 31% complete. I'll put this puppy over here. I'm starting to think that I might even buy a dedicated camcorder or iPod or something just dedicated to this, because the file sizes that Android do is just absolutely ridiculous, or maybe I gotta tweak something, I'm not sure. But SpeedFan does appear to detect some reference to NVIDIA, so good for it. My God, Microsoft sucks. Well, when SpeedFan and or Microsoft make up their mind, we'll come back. How about that? Alright, so let's wrap this up. I think I blabbed on for long enough. So, let's do this again. But this time, we are going to use... well, provided I can click on the right thing here. We're going to use the CPU this time and compare our notes. And then we're going to do it the same on the computer that I normally use for this. And that should be about 7 something. There we go. Cooking with gas now. Alright, so I usually use the MP4. I think it's that one. It's been a couple weeks since I did this, and I already don't remember what I did. I don't know if that's good or bad, so we'll go MP4. We'll keep it consistent. Let's save as. And combined. CPU. And we'll put it to high. And, oh mercy, 37 minutes. Alright, so let's minimize that one. We'll do the new tab. So that one is going to take a lot longer. So let's go down, and yes, already have my rage going here. I think it's that one. I think that's the one that's 616. Yep, so that's good. And I don't have an NVIDIA card on this laptop, so we are not going to use NVIDIA, because I don't even think it'll work. Oh, I'm right-clicking all of a sudden. Okay, good. And MP3 lame. MP4. Let's save. The Prosignia laptop keeps wanting to come up. Combined. This is a ProBook 650 Gen 4 with some kind of Intel card in it. And what do we got? And this one looks like it's going to take about 10 minutes to do with using the full-on CPU. A little piece of context with this virtual machine is that it is sharing resources with, say, 10 other servers, and VMware does do some prioritization. There may be other things going on in the background that makes this take a little bit longer. It's also a base model CPU. It's one of the lowest ones you can get for this server, so maybe it's not as good. It's also 2014, 2015. The server was definitely manufactured before October 2015. As I showed earlier in the video, it has the HP logo, not the green rectangular HPE, so it is from before October 2015. The laptop itself was manufactured in 2019, so definitely got 4 years on it. Let's see if I can pull up the specs for you here on the laptop. Yeah, it's got an i5 8350U. I don't know if it's 1.7 or 1.9 gigahertz, but a little bit newer. But I go on with this laptop because of the built-in serial port. I don't like those USB to serial things. And yeah, it looks like that this one, maybe because I was screwing around with it, it said in a neighborhood of now 15 minutes. We'll see how this goes. With the magic of video editing, I'll get this closer to the end, and we'll see how long this actually takes. Right now, the most low-tech way, 9:24 p.m. So we will come back when this gets in the 90s and see what we ultimately end up with. Alright, one little intermission here. It is 9:25 and we moved up a little. And from the VMware side of it, I'm only getting a complaint about memory usage. I'm surprised that we're not getting a complaint about CPU usage, but it's alright. And for some reason it got real bloody big here, but still hanging around that 30-minute time. So if you're going to use a server to do video encoding, I would recommend not using a virtual machine in this way, or I have something terribly wrong here. I'm not sure what it is, but oh, now it went. Whatever. Alright, so I'm also encoding on the other screen, so that will cause some problems. And yeah, I only gave it 2 CPUs, so maybe if I gave it 4 it might be a little bit better, I'm not sure. But the laptop, I believe, is also dual core only, so who knows. But like I said, in approximately 10 minutes, or it'll be instantaneous to you, we will come back and we'll see where the laptop is at. Alright, we're at 94%, and we're in minute 12 of this. One thing I want to show you on HP, and I'll show you that there's no tricks here. ProBook 650 Gen 4. This is actually staying pretty cool. Now, I mention that because HP made some real junk, especially during the Vista era, or Toshiba products even. The coolest number would be that 60 when it was idling. They had these things where you could fry an egg on them. The HPs, not this ProBook, but this ProBook's awesome for temperature control, and we are going to be done. It took probably about a little over 10 minutes. And I think pretty soon this should go back down. Let's close the program out and see what that does. So for some reason we got stuck at 93.6% CPU use. Oh, it's not responding, that's why. That's special. Let's just close the damn program out. Meanwhile, over at our right screen, we have about 14 minutes to go. So, going CPU, which, if you know the first thing about graphics cards, and I'm reloading SpeedFan, so excuse me for that. If you know anything about graphics cards, they're going to be obviously far superior, and that's why everybody uses them for mining and whatnot, and not CPU, because graphics cards can just do so much more. Alright, let's try this again with SpeedFan. So, practically no change. And, well, now it's starting to go down a little bit, so yeah, this thing recovers quickly once its CPU load is off. So we've come a long ways. But this is also a business class laptop, and they're generally designed better. Alright, so I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to abort this one. I don't care. So we're going to go to NVIDIA H264. And we'll just... naming conventions are overrated. Let's make it a 2. I killed SpeedFan on my VM because it just locked up. Now look at the difference. That is just impressive. That's on the same virtual machine. The only difference is that I'm using the NVIDIA graphics card. I'll show you what happens. We'll try to use it on a machine that doesn't have an NVIDIA card. Just to show what happens, because I think it'll stop you. We'll just put one more on there. Or better yet, it won't even list it. Okay, so that's real simple. So you can't use the NVIDIA unless you have an NVIDIA. So, but look at that. That is amazing. So I think we have a solution in place here. I'm going to abort this one. Not $1 million question is the sound. But I'm going to worry about that offline. But if you're my buddy from high school that's been desperately trying to get his hands on this video card that I got, I'm real sorry. I'm keeping it. This is going to make life a whole lot easier for me. So, sorry, man. I appreciate your persistence, but I'm keeping it. And even look at... One thing I never realized is that... Look at the file size on it, so maybe I got something screwed up with the Android, but... I'll find out if this has sound offline. But, anywho, so I blabbed on way too long about putting a graphics card in a server, or an enterprise-class server. I wouldn't recommend it long-term just because of the fans. If somebody does this on a Windows box and they can actually get speed fan to load or get temperature sensors to load, I'd love to hear how hot the thing actually gets. So, that'd be a great comment section piece. So, thank you for watching. I hope to have more videos popped out more efficiently in the future with this graphics card. One way or another, we will get them to you. So, thank you again for watching.